Alright guys, haven't done a video in a while. I think last time I left off, I did have the motor in and all that. It's pretty much ready. It's drivable, but doesn't have any exhaust, so open headers. I have started it, let it idle for like 5 minutes, everything was good. Trying to burp the system. Got the Thunderbird fan from like a 96 on there. Just kind of trimmed it up, put these little brackets for now. I'm gonna cover all this shit. I don't like all this whatever, but it works. I gotta get the radiator bracket. Stock radiator. It's pretty much the same size as a Coyote radiator, so I'm gonna use a stock radiator. And I got the stock overflow. I guess you can like delete all the lines and all that, but I don't know. I just ran the stock exactly how it is, ran stock. This goes in there. Comes back, goes to the overflow. I guess on the S1 or the S550s, they don't have a radiator cap. Everything is done through there. So that's how I'm gonna do it. It does have a 4-cylinder rear end on it still. Once I get it running and driving and everything, I'll drive it like that for a while I break everything in. Then I'm gonna put a 31 spline axles with 31 spline carrier and probably 410s. And then another thing, that rear end has 373s. Came off of an automatic 4-cylinder. Well, the car is an automatic 4-cylinder, so it has 373s, and I want to kind of try out the 6-speed to see how it runs with that. So I still need to get like proportioning valve, and then I still have to do the AC. The heater should work. I did warm it up. It was loud as shit. It's just open headers right now. I did warm it up and all that. That's a T56 from a 04 Cobra with the Stifler's crossmember, lines up perfect. I hooked up my O2 sensors and all that. I got rid of that big ass piece of shit QuickTime Bellhousing because it was hitting all over the place, and I would have had to basically pull the motor out every time I did the clutch or anything like that. So what I did is I got a T56 from a 04 Cobra. I was gonna go with the Magnum, but I got like 3 friends that have them and they're fucking garbage. Don't quote me though, I've never had one. So from the experience they've had, they're bad when you beat them up. And yeah, so with the T56 Cobra Bellhousing, I pretty much just kind of ghetto, but I strapped some little click straps onto each side of the header, and then I connected it to the wheel, and I literally just spread the headers just enough to get the bell housing out. Or to put it in, I should say, because I had to take them off to get the QuickTime Bellhousing out. I returned it to LMR because it was hitting everything. So I got a T56 with the stock pressure plate from the Coyote and a center force dual friction X clutch. And everything else from the T56. I'll show you guys right now. Let me see if I can get in here. I wanted to show you guys this shit. So that right there is a Corvette. Not sure what year. I want to say it's like a C5 Corvette, so like a 01 or something like that. Fuel filter. So that eliminates the need to run 2 lines, a feed and a return all the way up to the front with a regulator. I called the Ford Racing tech line where they, like if you need help with the control pack or whatnot, and they told me 50 to 55, 60 PSI is ideal for the Coyote. Just so happens that the Corvette fuel filter has like a built-in regulator. I guess that's what that little ground strap is for. And I mounted it up where the stock fuel filter goes, and it regulates the fuel at 55 PSI. So one of my friends that works at a little summer racing type shop here in it's actually in Salida near Modesto. He told me just run this one. This is what he does with this LS swap. So I said, fuck it, I'm gonna try it. It works. That shit right there, the return and the feed and all that, coming from the fuel tank, those are going to be replaced. I'm going to get the sending unit with the AN fittings and all that. So those up here with the clamps and all that, that will be replaced. That shit, it actually doesn't leak or anything, so I might just drive it like that for a while. But 6 AN fitting all the way to the front. Again, you will only have to run 1 feed. The Coyote doesn't have a return system, so pretty much the return system is in the fuel filter. Feed goes in, return comes out, and then on the opposite side of the fuel filter is just a feed to the rail, keeps it at 55, 50 PSI. So I ran that, saved me a shitload of money. Again, this is a stock 4-cylinder rear end. It has 373, so I'm gonna just drive it like this while I have a rear end built. Just want to make sure everything's good on the car. I know it's gonna need a lot of little final adjustments and whatnot, so that's just in there for now. And then I have the 340 Aeromotive Stealth fuel pump in the tank. Use the stock Fox sending unit and all that shit. All right, so again, this is a AN fitting. I gotta clamp it down after. I think I stopped like right in the wheel well, but pretty much this is gonna go to here. It just hooks up to the stock fuel line, the AN fittings. Bam. That cost me around, I think the fuel filter for the Corvette was like 40 bucks. The line, the fittings, I did all that shit myself. My friend showed me how to do it. My first time doing it. I did practice a couple times because I fucked up a couple times. But there's videos on here how to do AM fittings. And it was cool, actually. It was pretty easy. Saved me about, what, 400 bucks, 300 bucks from the kit. I spent 140 for the lines, the fittings, everything I was going to need, the clamps, all that shit, the fuel filter for the Corvette, all that. And then I paid, what, like 100, I think I got it on sale or something, like 100 bucks for the fuel pump. And then for the heater core lines, I pretty much ran the stock ones in the stock locations, and I just cut them and had to get like a reducer for one of them. One of them stayed the same, and I think the other one needed a reducer. But pretty much that's how it is. This is the correct way to wire them. The one on the driver's side is going to hook up to the left side heater core and like that. So did that. I did start the car, like I said. I need to get capture camera plates and shit too. But I did start the car and all that, and everything was cool. I did get a code for engine temperature. I'm guessing because it was so low, but that ain't shit. I got the code for that, and then I got a code for the intake runner control valves. They're those little canister looking things that are back here on the S550. If you have 11 to 14, you won't have that. They go back here, and I got these little deletes that pretty much what it does is it has like, I guess, like a blade that goes across the intake runners, and it like kind of controls it depending on idle and fuel and all that, just to give it like a smoother idle and like, I guess, for better mileage, gas mileage. But they sell these little brackets. Let me see if you can see them. Those little red things back there. That right there. They sell those little brackets that pretty much keep it open at all times. So I'm getting like 4 codes for the same thing, the intake runner. And then I'm getting a code for coolant temperature. I did get the OEM coolant and all that. So once I get my exhaust, then I'll feel a lot more comfortable starting the car and shit, because it's loud as shit and my neighbors do have kids. Alright, so my battery's about to die. But here's the 6-speed from the Terminator. Has an MGW shifter, fit perfect in there. I didn't have to cut anything, I guess because the shifter base is smaller than like the T5. Everything's in there. Pedals and all that shit are in there. All that. I'll go through the wiring in another video more in depth, but this is what I'm gonna run for now. I just kind of did some ghetto ass shit up there. Let me see if I can show you guys real quick. Alright, so this is how it's gonna be. This is just for now until I get my gauges, but it does work. I already used it. Volts, RPM, coolant with a little graph, and then coolant with like a digital thing, speed and timing, and then I have intake temperature, mass airflow, throttle position. It actually does work a little bit. The only gauges that are going to work for the Foxbody are going to be the RPM and the volts, but depending on what transmission you use, you could use like the TKO or the T5, and you could get the speedometer and all that to work. But for the most part, I think the only ones I'm going to wire up are going to be those two. Already work. Temperature and oil pressure, I'm going to find a way to wire those up to the Coyote. And then speed, because I got the T56 and it's an electric speedo, whatever you want to call it. And then the RPM, I might be able to get that to work. But pretty much it's pretty responsive. That's like the throttle thing. I'll make another video about that and kind of show you guys how to do that. Coolant, all that shit works. Volts, I already tried it. Everything works. It's good. So right there, it's off. Once these little green dots light up, so it's pretty responsive there. It's turned on, and there, it's activated. So once I get the exhaust on and do like a startup video and all that, then I'll kind of show you guys how that works. But pretty much all I need is exhaust and my drive line, and I'll be able to fucking go drive this shit. Heater works, and then I'm gonna have to do the AC while I build the rear end. Once I build the rear end, I'll throw that shit in there, weld the torque boxes, control arms, upper and lower control arms, weld the torque boxes. Probably do like some Strange or Lakewood shocks and struts or some shit. I gotta get a battery box for the trunk. And that's pretty much it. It's getting there. If you guys have any questions, just let me know in the comments. I'll try to answer them as best I can. This actually came with the transmission that I bought. It's a McLeod. It's used, so I'm going to send it out to Twin Disc RXT. I'm going to send it out to McLeod and have it rebuilt. I think it's like half the price of the whole kit, so I'll have that on standby just in case I fuck up the center force. But that's it, man.